going on, guys? Dan Watson, learning cameras, and I think I need a channel for gimbals or something like that because I feel like I'm always doing them. But hey, this is DJI, and yeah, this is our favorite drone company right here. But this is also the company that basically started gimbals in so many ways. And I mean, my first DJI gimbal was the Ronin-M, and that was a really awesome gimbal. Now, it didn't really fit my purposes. I needed something a bit smaller and run and gun style that's set up faster. And so kind of in that meantime, while they had that Ronin out there, I've been going to other gimbals like these right over here, and we'll kind of get into some comparisons in a later video. Actually, if you want to see a DJI Ronin-S and a Crane 2 comparison video, just hit me up in the comments below. If enough of you guys do that, maybe I'll throw that one this way. But we're going to focus this one mostly on the Ronin-N with a couple little comparison things right there. So let's take a look at this. I mean, this was a really exciting gimbal just because of the history DJI has had, the quality that they already have in their gimbals, and they're not new to product manufacturing, anything like that. So we can kind of be sure that it's going to be a pretty good result. But what we have here is kind of an interesting one. So I want to kind of go over it for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and let's take a look at the Ronin-S. Alright, so let's talk hardware with this guy. I mean, starting from the bottom, we've got our quarter 20, and we see that on pretty much every gimbal on here. We also have a 3/8, and so that could be nice if you have like a crane or something like this you're mounting it to. I don't have anything I've used that for, so it's nice to have, I guess. We do have this kind of interesting handle. I mean, it is very nice because it is a little bit more like a grip. I had no problem using it over time. One thing I will say is that you don't have really enough room for two hands on this thing. However, these right here are the best tripod legs I've ever felt. I mean, they're rubberized on the outside. This was my go-to setup, and I found I got a really nice grip when I used it just like that. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, I used this thing all day, 8 hours, and I had no problem. I wasn't getting hand strain or anything like that. So for being a very heavy gimbal, it was performing very well for me. Now, one thing that's weird is that we actually have a power button right on here. Now, this controls power just to the battery, basically. And that battery is going to be built into here, so you can't actually remove the batteries at all, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. But yeah, you actually have to turn this on before you can power on the gimbal, and then after you power off the gimbal, you don't have to do this right away, but at the end of the night or when you're charging it, you actually have to power this off. They recommend doing that. I don't love it. I'm not sure exactly why they do it. Maybe it's something to do with accessories they plan on adding later, but that is the way it is on that. Now, moving up a little bit, we got one of my favorite features right here, this trigger. It is not the first gimbal that I've seen this on, but it is one of the features that I love the most because I like to shoot a lot lower to the ground. It allows me to just hold that, move into a completely different setup like this, let go, and then now I am moving my gimbal in a completely different orientation. It is awesome. You can double tap this and it goes back to your neutral position. You can triple tap and it'll go into a selfie mode, which I don't think you need because you can just hold down once, turn this around, and then you spin this around, and then now you're in selfie mode. So yeah, I mean, for a gimbal like this with that kind of a feature, I don't think you need that triple tap, but it is there. And it is just amazing having this and using this. Once you get used to this, it is so hard to go back to a gimbal that doesn't have it. And yeah, it's just something that you're gonna love instantly when you pick this thing up. Around the back, we have a joystick, and this is, again, one of the best joysticks because it kind of feels like my Mavic Air or something like that. Really tactile, great on that. You can pan and tilt. I've got my tilt really slow right now, but you can pan and tilt at the same time. It's pretty easy to get that going on there. We also have a mode dial, so you can set up different settings. So like, for example, I have mine. You can all customize this in the app, and we'll talk about the app a little bit. We can set this up. So I have mine that on 1, it's very slow. The acceleration is turned down. Pump this up into mode 2, and now it's a lot faster and more responsive. So for me, and you have 3 modes on that one, for me this is great because I can really quickly go from shooting very cinematic, slow stuff, and then quickly, if a dancing is picking up or something in a reception, I can go to a more responsive style that imitates like a Steadicam or something like that. So it's a really nice setup and a really nice way to go on that. And again, you don't need the typically you would change this in order to hold pan and tilts and things like that. But on this gimbal, again, you just hold that trigger and you can move this to where you want, and then you have that motion there. So it's a great way of locking all of the axes. So that is a great way of doing it. An implementation on that is very good. Now here's where you have your other power control. This is powering up and out of the gimbal. And again, we have this really crazy feature on the DJI Ronin-S, which is that these right here allow accessory mounting. So it actually came, which I'm surprised it came with it, but it came with the focus wheel right here. Now this is non-linear, which might piss a couple of you guys off, but oh well. It is non-linear and it has a little port on this. And this is what you can use to control focus, and it doesn't work with Sony, so I'm not using it right now. However, it does work with Canon and Panasonic. And I think they just released a firmware update that also allowed Nikon, but you might have to check that out. I mean, DJI is still updating this thing, so some of this stuff can change. I'll try and update the description on that one, but unfortunately we can't do updates on the video. So check the description and then ask me in the comments below. So I get emails anytime there's updates from DJI. So if you have questions, you want to make sure stuff, let me know in the comments below, and you can check out all of the gear that I'm using on this. So this is my go-to setup. So I have an A7 III on this one, 28mm f2 lens. I use this one a lot. It's a great lens for doing gimbal work for Sony. And then I have a video micro from Rode, and this is the mic that I generally use on a gimbal setup. And it works really well for me. This is my kit right here for portable. And if you want to see all the gear that I use for my video work, you can check that out. I got a link in the description below. So moving up towards the top right here, there are a couple weird things. So this is your port right here for actually controlling the camera. Now it came with a bunch of cables. It came with these really weird cable supplies. So first of all, it has 2 USB cables, but it looks like these don't actually work with Sony. So you have USB-C and a micro USB. We also have another plate, so if you want to take this off, you can mount a plate on there just like this, so you can seal up those terminals. Now for Sony, what they have you using is this right here. It's kind of weird. It plugs in here and it's like an IR blaster, and you can use it to control the camera just like that remotely. I found it was a little spotty. So for me using that, it was like 70% on as far as me hitting the button and getting a response on that. The button also didn't feel perfect, so I didn't know if I was hitting the button correct or if it was the actual blaster not communicating with the camera correctly. So for me, it was kind of useless. So that was kind of a downer. I hope it's something that they can fix or just release a cable that works with Sony. I mean, I first saw this at Sony Kondo. I don't know why it doesn't work with Sony on so many of these things, because you would think them showing this off would be nice. Now, probably one of the main reasons they're showing that off is this. Guess what, you guys? You can actually see your screen now. So that's massive. Once you go to that, if you're using a camera that either doesn't have a flip out screen or a tilt screen at all, this is massive. I mean, it makes a huge difference. It is so much nicer to be able to control that. In fact, if I need to, I can actually just look in the viewfinder right here without an issue. One of the things that kind of pissed me off about this is that we don't have dual handles, which means I have nowhere to mount my accessories right now except on the camera. So monitors, kind of screwed. I also use lights, LED lights every so often, and I don't have anywhere to do that. So where am I gonna put this? Who knows? So I'm sure DJI is going to have dual handles soon. Maybe when you're watching this, they do, and this is all, it looks kind of stupid to you, but at the time this is released, this has been out for like a month, and they have nothing on this one. So I'm still waiting for a lot of accessories and things like that. So I really feel like this is going to be something that is a really cool gimbal maybe 3 months from now when all of this stuff is out there. Also, they just produced a manual for this. It's a little late on that one. It's not the best manual in the entire world either. There's not a lot of instruction videos. So for the most part, you're kind of going to be kind of hit and miss and trying to figure this thing out right now. But again, probably when you're watching, it's going to be a little bit better. Another weird thing right here, and that is that this tripod plate right here is kind of Manfrotto, and I say kind of because this will work in your Manfrotto tripods. However, try to put your Manfrotto tripod into this and you will be screwed. It will not go in at all. So I don't know why they did that, if they did it on purpose or if nobody really realized that it didn't work backwards. I don't know. But either way, you're probably going to need to pick a bunch of these up or you're going to risk losing them. So that is kind of a downer to have that, and I don't know why. And honestly, DJI, I hope you can do something about this because that kind of sucks. Now, something that they do have, which is nice, is that you have the ability to move this axis in any direction that you want. So you can move it further away from the gimbal or closer to it. And this is really nice because I like to butt my cameras up pretty close to the end here, and that allows me to kind of get the most out of the weight distribution on that one. So really like that feature right here. I've got this thing non-balanced right now. Another thing is that when you're balancing this, if you have a super light lens like this, you have to use this crazy thing right here. This is an adapter that goes in between your tripod plate and the camera to raise the level off. It's basically like a spacer, but it requires 2 screws in the tripod plate. So I have 1 screw mounted to the camera, and then I got this other one dangling here in case I need to use this. And it's just one more thing that I'm gonna lose, and I know I'm gonna lose this thing. And it means that if I want to go from having this on the camera with a tripod plate, in order to take this off, if I wanna go shoot photos with my camera, guess what? I gotta pull this thing off, I gotta take off this tripod, and then I have to undo 2 screws right on here, and then a 3rd one for this, and it just takes longer. I mean, I don't wanna do that kind of crap. If you want to actually push this up a little bit further to balance it correctly, you can't. I don't know why they kind of designed it like this. It kind of seems like it should have gone maybe straight down here. I don't know. I use this thing all day, 8-hour wedding, 48% battery at the end of the day left. That's incredible. So 1 battery, which by the way, that's a good thing, because guess what? If you want to change this battery out, you are talking about having to buy the entire handle. So I don't think we have a spare battery yet. So you can remove this entire setup right here. The nice thing is that best of all, you can get this gimbal and a backpack, which is really cool. But this is your battery, and you're gonna have to buy this entire thing, and I'm sure this is not going to be cheap. So, but right when I was thinking that these are a lot of little things that are bugging me, I opened up the app, and the app is amazing. I mean, this is one of the easiest gimbals to configure. You have your motor parameters on here, but you see your user modes right here, so you can pop into user 1. That's really nice, and you can control all of those individually. So everything that I do right now is going to be for that one. Your smooth track, pan and tilt. This is really nice. You can set either very easy modes like low, medium, and high for your acceleration, or you can customize those as you want. So that's awesome. Once you pop into user mode 1, it actually lights up on the back that you're in user mode 1. So it makes working with this such a breeze. So let's talk cases. This is the case that comes with it. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this case, and mostly hate because, first of all, it's kind of hard, but it's like a foam. So I'm not going to want to take this on an airplane or anything like that, whereas some of the other ones come with like Pelican hard cases and stuff like that. This is a maze. You're trying to figure out where this thing goes when you look at this for the first time. If you got everything out, how are you going to figure this thing out? And you got to really break this down in order to get it in here. So it's not my favorite case in the entire world. It's probably something that's it. That's about how I'm going to be using that case. Thankfully, it breaks down pretty well into 2 pieces, and I can store this in a backpack or something like that. That's probably going to be my go-to for now. Hopefully, I can find a case that works a little bit better for this soon. Honestly, guys, I mean, I half expected to hate this thing after a lot of these quirks, but after shooting with this thing, honestly, it really quickly became my gimbal of choice on this. So for those of you out there that are kind of on the fence on this, I'll tell you that performance-wise and having these features like the joystick and this being at an angle so you can see your screen and the amazing battery life and focus wheels and all that kind of stuff, this was huge for me. It really made a big difference, and it was something that I plan on using all the time, especially if DJI can give me something that I can hold my accessories on here. It's going to be a no-brainer for me on that one. Until then, it still has a big weakness that prevent me from using this into areas that I need to hold things like monitors and microphones and lights or anything like that on the gimbal handle. So it was one of my favorite gimbals to use. You should really consider it. Price-wise, it's extremely competitive, which I did not expect from DJI on that one. So it's a really good gimbal on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Again, if you want to see more with the Crane 2 in comparison with this, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think on that, and maybe I'll do some comparison on that. It should be fun. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Please like and sub. Stay tuned. Some more cool videos coming up soon.